Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of our Mental Health Impact series. My name is Ankita, and I am the program manager and the host at Reach Out Together. Reach Out Together is a Canadian mental health not for profit, raising awareness to break cultural stigma and to encourage you to go seek out for help, whether that's professional help or other supports. Every single week, we host our discussions on mental health. Today, we actually had Halda Sheena, but because of the situation in Texas, she wasn't able to join us. But instead, we have Saakhi with us, who is our blog content writer at Reach Out Together. Welcome, Saakhi. How are you?
I'm great, Ankita. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. I'm very excited to get this conversation started.
Me too. Me too.
Do you want to start by you just telling us a little? Do you want to start by you telling us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes. So, hello, everyone. I'm Saakhi, also known as Yashika. So, you might hear those two names get tossed around today. I have been, on and off with Reach Out Together, volunteering for about 4 years now. I'm volunteering full time now. And I recently, had left my corporate job to start to go on to the entrepreneurial journey. So yeah, really excited about that and really excited to be here and chat about mental health with Ankita.
Likewise, I'm very excited to have you here with us. Yashika, what brought you, sorry, Saakhi, Yashika, as you said, we're going to be tossing around those names. Let's start by you telling us what brought you here at Reach Out Together. Any struggles that you've faced or are continuing to face? What's your mental health journey been like?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a loaded question. You know what? I think what brought me here specifically to Reach Out Together was the fact that when before Reach Out Together was even launched or founded, I remember at that time experiencing so many struggles within my community. When I say within my community, within the South Asian community. Even within a little bit within my family, within our families, me and my husband. And at that time, I remember chatting with Anchal, the founder of Reach Out Together, and sort of talking about some of my struggles and the kind of changes that I want to see within the community, in the world, in that mental health space. How I wanted to be sort of that beacon that breaks that stigma. I really wanted to, just educate the people around me about mental health because it's, as you know, Ankita, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this this mental health impact series today will resonate. It's not talked about very openly. Mental health in general, mental illnesses, there's a lot of stigma attached to it. So that's what made me want to make a difference. And I remember at that time, before Reach Out Together was, even founded, I remember chatting with Anchal about that. And, when she told me this is something that she wants to do and she wants to, get on this journey and create Reach Out Together, I was all for it. And ever since then, like I said, I've been on and off, of course, depending on things that have been happening in my own life. But I've always been very, very excited and happy that, finally there is this space and there's an organization dedicated to mental health.
And how's your journey been like with mental health? Your personal journey?
It's, what, I think growing up, I've moved around so much in my life, so I think that it's, how do I say it? It's been very turbulent, but it's also made me so much stronger. I'm very fortunate that I've had a strong support system right from the get-go, right from when I was a child. And I'm a very outgoing person and I'm very loud. So personality I am, you know, I'm not the type of person to keep quiet. If I notice something, if there's something that doesn't resonate with me, with my soul, I speak up about it. And that has really, really helped me with battling my own mental health issues. But if we talk about what my journey has been like, I think ever since I was a child, I've always, as we all, we go through high school and we experience so many different things. So I'm sure, I've had my own issues, and I probably would have bordered on anxiety or depression even. But at that time, I had no idea, it was definitely undetected. So as I'm becoming more aware, every once in a while, I will look back at my childhood and I'll think, oh, you know what? Maybe I did have a lot of anger issues back then, or I did, and I'll think about this. But at that time, I had no idea. So definitely a vast topic. There's been a lot of experiences in my life that now when I look back and think back, I'm like, okay, I definitely was not okay back then. What was I thinking? Oh, I remember that time when I went through a really dark phase. But as I'm learning more about mental health, and that learning never stops, Ankita, every single day there's a new revelation as I'm educating myself further. And that's what I love about Reach Out Together, because I get to educate myself through it. But yeah, I'm sure I would have had a lot of mental health related issues. I just never recognized them back then.
I can really resonate with that. I remember this time in my life where I felt like something was wrong and I was just living like that. And now I'm actually very grateful because of Reach Out Together. I'm actually taking care of myself. I know what these emotions are about, and it's really helping me move forward in my life. Yashika, you mentioned that within your community as well, you've faced stigma. And a lot of people are really quiet about these topics. It's always seen like a taboo. Even within the Indian community, personally, I have faced stigma. So in your journey towards mental health, have you personally ever faced stigma?
Oh, lots of it. Yeah. About, I will tell you the most recent. I've been experiencing mental health stigma, or like, anytime I would notice anytime I would talk about mental health, or, my husband is a huge advocate for mental health as well. So anytime he would talk about it, there would be like these subtle comments that would be made within our community, again, within the South Asian community, especially here in Canada. So, I definitely noticed a lot of those. One of the most common comments that I would hear was, if you're feeling depressed, just fix it. Just fix it. And just fix it, to me, now when I hear the word just fix it, or when I hear that phrase, I still, like I have to go for a walk to like calm myself down, or to become more zen about it, because it's not to hate on anybody for this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a matter of education, right? I mean, that's why Reach Out Together is doing what it's doing. That's why I decided to become an advocate for mental health, because people just don't know. So you can't blame somebody if they just don't know, right? But I heard that phrase a lot. So that was a huge stigma, which I personally wanted to eliminate within the community, in the world, that you can't just fix a mental health issue. You need to know, first of all, you need to know how to fix it, but it's also something that you recover from. Just like you can't just fix a broken arm. You need treatment, right? You can't just go ooh bubbly boo and it's done. No, that's not how it works. So I think that was the biggest stigma. But yeah, that, and then also the fact that I remember once talking about mental health in children, low mental health or mental illnesses among children. And that was another thing, I would often hear that, oh, children don't get affected by mental health. Like they're too young. They don't even know what mental health is. Yeah, you're right. They're young. They don't know what mental health is, but the fact that, but they can 100% get affected by it. And uh, if anything, mental health problems, they begin at a younger age, like mostly begin at a younger age, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world. Children they don't know what's going on in the world either, and it can affect them drastically. So those are the two big ones, that I still to this day hear, and that I'm kind of working on. Okay, how do I overcome those kind of objections, for lack of a better word? How do I overcome that when somebody makes a statement like that? How do I educate that person rather than come home and feel upset by it? What am I doing in that moment to educate the person?
That's so rightly put. Thank you so much, Yashika, for sharing. And I feel like even within, as in like us within Asians, we're so fast to give compassion or help to those in need, but we don't actually take care of ourselves. It's a very good thing to be there for people, have that compassionate behavior, but it's very important to look after yourself as well, right? So what tips or advice would you give that person who someone who you can help to improve their well-being?
I think in our community, you're right. We're very quick to help somebody else. We don't really help. We don't really think about whether we need help, whether we whether we need to do something, or self-love is a topic that we often shy away from. We don't even think about it, and I think I can only speak from my own experiences. I'll give you an example. In the past 5 years, 5, 6 years, I've been in hustle mode. I still am, but I'm a little more conscious now. But I've been in this zone where I think, okay, I'm going to work. I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to make my parents proud. I'm going to do this. But in none of those statements of what I'm going to do did I say I'm going to take care of myself first. So, I think it's a matter of self-awareness. It's a matter of knowing your limits. I don't think I knew my limits up until 6 months ago. I had no idea what a limit was. And the only advice I will give is, it's good to hustle. It's good to have dreams and ambitions, and to want to achieve, go to the moon. I'm gonna do this. It's great to have. Be greedy, be hungry. That's awesome. At the same time, even if you take maybe 10 minutes in a day to just sit with yourself, or there's little changes. Start with the little ones. I wake up in the morning and I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to start making my bed. I'm going to take 5 minutes. The first thing I'm going to do is not check my phone. It's so easy to wake up and just check Instagram right away. I'm not going to do that. So I keep my phone far away from me when I sleep. So when I wake up in the morning, I just sit with myself. I'm still in bed. I take 10 minutes to just acknowledge how I'm feeling. Okay, how have I, that phrase, you've woken up on the wrong side of the bed, or I've woken up. It is true. Sometimes you do wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and acknowledging that off the bat is very important. So I'll wake up, I'll sit with myself for 10 minutes. I'll just think, okay, this is what I have to do today. How am I feeling? Do I feel like I can conquer what I set out to do today? And if I'm not feeling 100%, no problem. I'm going to get up. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to hit the snooze button on that alarm if it's ringing. Maybe I'll just go for a walk. I'll brush my teeth, throw on a pair of joggers, a sweater, and I'm going to go for a walk and clear my head a little bit. Or I'm going to get a coffee if that makes me feel better. and then I will start my day. So just be gentle with yourself first thing in the morning, you know. I think the biggest change for me, which I would highly recommend to everybody right now, especially because most people are homebound because of the pandemic. Don't check your phone first thing in the morning. It doesn't help. There's so much negativity in the news these days. We're constantly, if you're checking Instagram first thing in the morning, right away that self-doubt, you're feeding yourself with self-doubt first thing in the morning, because you're looking at somebody else's feed and you're seeing how successful they are, how happy you are, and right away you're thinking, oh my God, why am I not there yet? So don't do that. Just wake up with an intention to just check in with yourself first. Before you check in on somebody else, check in with yourself, and then go on and do whatever you have to do. So I think that's the biggest advice that I had to teach myself within the past month, and I would highly recommend to somebody else.
That's beautiful, Yashika. Thank you so much for sharing. And I found it very useful to not use my phone first thing in the morning, and even 1 hour before you go to bed. Just don't check your phone. It doesn't help. Yashika, what do you do to maintain like a positive mental health, given that we are in a pandemic? What do you do to be positive?
Yeah, you know what? I always say different strokes for different folks. So many people, like what works for me might not work for somebody else, but there are some commonalities. To maintain a positive mental health, especially right now, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. My whole life is in Calgary. 2 months ago, like I said, I left my corporate job, decided to get on this entrepreneurial journey myself, and I shifted cities. I actually moved to Vancouver for a couple months. I'm in Vancouver right now. And my first 2 weeks, first 2, 3 weeks were really hard. In fact, the first month was really hard because I was just like, what am I doing? I don't know anybody here. I'm all alone. My husband's not here. Obviously I miss my family and I miss my husband back home. So one day it just hit me that I need to stop feeling sorry for myself in a way, and I need to start getting into action. The more active I am, the more in action that I am, the more motivated I'm going to feel to keep going. So, what I started doing was, like I said, I'll wake up in the morning, I won't check my phone, I'll make my bed. First thing in the morning is I'm making my bed. And what that does for me, Ankita, is if I felt like I can't accomplish something, say I wanted to contact a vendor for the business that I'm starting, and I just don't feel confident enough to do it, or I don't feel up to it. I'm not feeling good mentally, I'm feeling really down, or really, I've got all these berating thoughts going through my head. What I'm going to do is when I make my bed in the morning, what it does is it motivates me to take on the next action. So what's the next action? It's to go for that yoga class. Now I'm going to do it because I feel, okay, you know what? I did this. I accomplished this. Let's push a little further. Let's try and do that, go for that class. So I'll go for that yoga class. Now I've gone for that yoga class. I've spent an hour just of deep breathing, of working out. Now I feel even more motivated to accomplish the next task. So it sort of creates this ripple effect as you accomplish these little tasks. So when I say start small, even something as small as making your bed is a big deal, because it will create a ripple effect for you to do something bigger. And sure enough, by the end of the day, I've accomplished all my tasks. I've written that report that I said I was going to do. I've done the blog post that I set out to do. I've completed all of these things that I decided to do. So I think it's just a matter of starting small and then kind of working your way up from there. And it'll make you feel so good. Once you've accomplished everything, you're gonna gain that confidence. You're gonna be ready to conquer the next day, and it'll just keep going from there. So that's what I would say. Just start small and go from there. And always, do things that make you happy. I work out. actually, no, sorry, that's a lie. I don't work out. I go for yoga. I realized, obviously with the pandemic, I was homebound and I wasn't able in Calgary, all the gyms and yoga studios and everything are closed. So I remember when I moved here, I didn't feel very confident in my skin because I felt like I had gained some weight. I didn't like how I looked. I was just being very condescending of myself. I didn't feel my fittest. And I remember saying, okay, you know what, I'm just going to go, I'm going to start working out. I signed up for this app, and it was like all these intense workout classes, but I didn't even use that app once because working out is not my thing. Yoga is. I've been doing yoga since I was 16. So for me, I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the things that I love. What do I love to do? What makes me happy? I made a list and I started acting on those things. So, like I said, it's very subjective. It really depends on the person, but start off by making that list for yourself and then kind of go from there. Start little by little incorporating that or those things into your daily routine.
Thanks for sharing, Yashika. And Yashika, for those people who know that doing a certain task might give them joy, might give them happiness, but don't really have the motivation to do that, what advice or tips would you give them?
I That's a tough one. So I think it's about surrounding or reaching out to somebody if you don't have that motivation. It depends. If it's something that's a one-off, that it's just happening to you today, you're feeling demotivated today, then, again, do things that will motivate you, that will make you happy. Start small. But if it's a recurring thing, if you're feeling like every day you're waking up and you're just not feeling 100%, every day you're on the low spectrum of mental health, then you need to be honest with yourself in that moment, and reach out to somebody, anybody. If you don't have the knowledge of what you're going through, or if you don't even know who to reach out to in terms of professional help, reach out to a friend or somebody who might be able to support you. There's no shame in just being honest with the people in your life and saying, hey, I'm not feeling 100% today. I'm not feeling good. And you'd be surprised by the amount of support you will receive, especially right now when everybody across the globe is feeling, is probably on the lower spectrum or lower end of mental health because of what's going on in the world. So, there's nothing wrong with feeling that way, and I think it comes with acknowledging that and reaching out when you think you need to. Now, at the same time, sometimes you may not even feel up to reaching out to somebody. So that's okay. This is where your phone will come in handy. Just do a little research. Okay, just research your symptoms, right? Okay, I'm feeling this. There's so many, there's quizzes and stuff you can take online. Google is a great resource for things like this, and just do a little bit of research and you'll kind of be able to, don't self-diagnose, but just sort of list out your symptoms and you might get a little bit of an idea of what exactly is happening. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I think 100% reach out to people whenever and wherever you can. It will save you. And right now, it is something that we've all been, as much as the pandemic has stunted our ability to do a lot of things, what it has done has increased that virtual connection. It's people are expecting you to reach out to them via email and phone, and because you can't meet them. So yeah, you'll be surprised by the amount of support you receive.
That's so rightly put. And honestly, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I wouldn't be here personally doing this talk. It was only because of this pandemic was when I realized that there are topics that need to be spoken about. And after everything that we've faced with the pandemic, every single person needs therapy. Whether they believe it or not, everyone needs it. Yashika, what's the one message that you'd like to share, perhaps to someone who's really struggling? What's that one message that you'd like to tell them?
I think this might sound a little cliche, but it's so true, is that you're never alone in what you're going through. You're not alone. Um, if you're not feeling 100%, if you're not feeling like you're giving your job, or if you feel like if you're not feeling like you're giving your 100%, it's okay. It's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself, because um, you never want to put yourself in a situation where you are berating your own self. You've got, there's people out there doing that anyway. You need to be your biggest advocate. You need to love yourself first before you can expect anybody else to love you. So it's okay to be feeling what you're feeling, and you are not alone. And the only way you're going to find that out is by reaching out to people, is by communicating with people. So communicate, even if you don't get the response that you think you're going to get, or even if you don't hear back, at least you did what you could in that moment to make yourself feel better. The fact that you picked up the phone and reached out to that person is going to make you feel so good about yourself, because you took that first step. So yeah, you're never alone, and don't be so hard on yourself.
To everyone who's tuned in, you're not alone. Just like Yashika said, if you need help, if you want to talk, or if you want to share your story, please reach out. We're here for you. You're not alone. Thank you so much, Yashika, for sharing. Yashika, before we wrap up our discussion, do you want to tell everyone what our logo stands for?
Yes. Okay, so this is something that I, again, learned through Reach Out Together. So thank you. This means together in sign language. And I think it's so beautiful, because mental health, especially, just not just mental health, but in general, there's so much that you can achieve just by collaborating with people. You can achieve a lot more together than you can alone. So yeah, this means together in sign language.
And just to add, we use the color orange because the color orange in color healing therapy, it brings out feelings of warmth and happiness. And we also have a circle around it, and that circle represents the world together. So if you really think about it, everyone's together and you're really not alone. And our vision at Reach Out Together is to heal the world, community by community, conversation by conversation, just like Yashika and I did today. So everyone who's tuned in or might rewatch this later on, if you're struggling or if you want to share your story, please get in touch with us via email at event@reachouttogether.com. Thank you so much, Yashika, for sharing your story and for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Ankita, for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Yashika.
Hello.
And you, bye. Take care.
Bye.